Good morning, everyone, or good day, or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching this. We are here. It's another episode of Raiders Thrive. I'm Miss R, and I'm here with Mr. Assiamah and Crystal. How are you guys doing?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. Another Friday. I'm super excited. I think this morning I feel more rejuvenated than last Friday. I don't know why, but it's Friday, so I'm happy.
That's good. How about you, Crystal? How are you doing?
I'm well. I woke up this morning and I was like, "Oh, it's Friday." And it was just like a really good. This week went by really fast, but when you wake up on Friday and you're like, "Okay, so I just need to get through the day," and then, you get to spend time relaxing and whatever on the weekend. It was good. I'm good.
Yes, I do get very excited knowing that on a Friday at 2:30, it's like I can turn it off and I can just enjoy the weekend. And then the weekend goes by so fast. And then the weeks are so full. But the weekends I wish they could last longer. And it's so funny. I've already got a comment from someone saying, "Oh, next week is Groundhog Day. I hope it's not like the movie." And then we're stuck in 2021. I hope not either. So another week of us chatting about life and how to thrive rather than just survive. And I know it's the pandemic and it's dragging on and we're, all learning online and we're all at home and we're isolated and we're wondering where the heck do we get the energy to keep going? So to start off this week's discussion, I turn it over to Mr. Assiamah.
All right. Thank you very much. So, we're so happy to be here with you guys another Friday. But we're talking about challenges. And really, I think what we want to highlight for today's show is just really understanding that challenges are a part of life. Even the difficult ones, you have to always take it in for what it is presenting you and what you could gain out of it. I think it's all mindset as to how we approach the obstacles that are put in front of us each and every single day. So I guess to start off today's topic, I wanted to just ask the question, what kind of challenges have you guys been through? Or what are some of the challenges you're going through right now?
Oh,
Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm juggling homeschooling and I'm juggling working from home. And so one of the challenges that I face is I have two daughters and my 12-year-old is very, very self-sufficient. She's motivated. She's just has that drive and she's amazing. And my little one has challenges because she's now learning how to use the internet, learning how to use Google Docs, learning how to open up documents and go into her D2L. And she's only 8. And so because she doesn't know it, I now need to help her with it, which is fine, but it then poses a challenge because, I have to make sure that she's ready, she's ready to go, she's got all of the material that she needs, so then I can sit down and focus on the stuff that I need to do. The problem is her classes are constantly switching. So she's in a class for 30, 40 minutes, and then she goes to the next class and the next class. And with every class that she has to go to, she has to log out of this Teams, go into that Teams, do this, do that. Sometimes her computer freezes. One day I went in there and her battery died. And she didn't realize that she needed to just plug it in and move along. And so when I went in there, I was like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Well, my computer died." And I'm like, "Girl, you need to plug that thing in. What's going on?" So it's constantly finding a balance. I know that when she logs off at 3:15 after they do their afternoon prayer, I say to the both of my kids, I'm like, "Hey, I need you guys to just leave me alone for 2 hours, and I need to just catch up on the constant interruptions that I've had throughout the day." So I would typically work a little bit longer in my day, but I'm making up for the 500 interruptions that I had in the middle of the day. Like last week when we were doing our video, she came into the screen and I was like, "Oh, well, what are you going to do? It is what it is."
What about you, Miss R?
Challenges that I'm facing right now, I'm just trying to think. I've got to say, okay, so the challenges I'm facing are work related. One, I remember in January, well, in the fall, I mentioned the idea to Crystal, and then I shared it with admin that, hey, if we go online again, I should do a morning broadcast live show to start the day. Well, of course, over the Christmas break, I'm like, okay, I really got to learn how to use it. Like, what am I going to do? And like, oh my God, I'm going live and yikes. So that was a challenge. And so I still find that in the morning, I get ready, I do my exercise, I come up and, I've got my smoothie, my coffee, and I'm here in the studio at 7:45. I'm getting all my tabs ready. And then I'm kind of just twiddling my thumbs at 8 o'clock. And it's like, oh, wait a second, I gotta find a prayer. And then I find the prayer. And then I'm like, I get nervous. So it's right now the challenges I'm facing is doing all this computer stuff. And yesterday, I think I got a headache by when was I done? I had a meeting at 3:30. It ended at 4:15. And by 4:30, I can't be on the computer anymore. I got a headache. So right now the biggest challenge is just how do I make chaplaincy relevant? How can I meet the needs of people? All this computer stuff, and I'm missing the human contact. And then a personal challenge is I've chosen to do this. So this isn't like a change that was imposed on me from somewhere else, but I've decided to exercise every morning, and I do know the benefits, and I am reaping the rewards of this. But in the morning, I have my exercise clothes. I'm downstairs in the basement with my stuff, and I'm just like, I don't want to get started. I just want to go back to bed. So I force myself. So the challenges I'm dealing with, one, they're self-imposed, because I'm choosing the exercising because I know it's good for me, but man, it's so hard to get started in the morning when you're so tired and you've hit snooze 3 or 4 times already. And then the other challenges is just keeping up with the demands of work in this online world.
Just listening to both you guys, what you guys have both spoken about, just challenges, and they're different for both you guys, but some are actually the same. I think part of the message for today's show is just really understanding that challenges are a part of life. And a lot of times the challenges that are put in front of us are based on things that we're dealing with in our immediate world. Like right now, we're all dealing with the pandemic, and that has brought a lot of challenges, but you're not alone, because I think as Miss Silva had just mentioned, the kids are, going through it. She's also going through it with them.
Yeah.
And we're all going through it together in reference to the pandemic. We're all being affected. Another big thing about challenges is there could be some personal issues that we're also dealing with that sometimes are challenges, sometimes just challenges socially or challenges in just different areas of our life. I think every area of our life that we want to see and be successful in has challenges. But if you want something good to come out of something, know that there's something that you have to work through to get it. So right now, you guys all want school to be something you're successful at. There's a challenge that comes with attaining that goal. If school was easy, it wouldn't be something that maybe wouldn't be desirable. It wouldn't be of value. Challenges a lot of times are associated with progress, are associated with growth, associated with advancement, associated with anything that brings you from one level to another, right? So I think a lot of times, let's really change the way we see the obstacles that are put in front of us, and really kind of have a better outlook on what's being put in front of us.
I want to add something. When you said about, what if school were easy? And we see sometimes this happen when students are really, really bright and they're in a course and they're bored because it's so easy and they get bored. So that in itself is telling that we need the challenge. We thrive off the challenge because there's something important in our development when we are presented with a challenge and we rise to meet it, work through the challenges, and oh my gosh, I don't understand calculus, but boy, I'm going to go to extra help and I'm going to figure it out. Or oh my gosh, Miss Climates is saying that we've got to do a monologue. Oh my gosh, my first year in drama class, I don't know if I could do a monologue. But there's something so important in when we meet something, get out of our comfort zone, meet the challenge, and then we do it. It helps our self-esteem. It helps our resiliency. It helps us to know, hey, I can do it. So there is no such thing as can't. Can't is just an easy way to say, I couldn't be bothered. But we can get through stuff.
I think like I remember hearing oftentimes a lot of students be like, and even my own kids, like, oh, I hate school. I hate school. I don't want to go to school. Da, 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 da. And so guess what? You're now no longer going to school. You're learning virtually. And at first it was like the greatest thing ever. I think students or kids learned real quick, like there are way more challenges with virtual learning. You're losing so much. You're losing that face-to-face interaction. You're losing those group discussions. You're losing that engagement. You're losing, the ability to just have resources at your fingertips and go here and go there and grab a snack and go do this and go do that. And so now I know there's so many students who literally lock themselves in their one little room. They have their one little room, they're on the computer, and this is how they're learning. And then after school, we're still on the computer because now we don't have those resources. We have the internet. And so we're constantly doing this. And then when we're done school and done our studying and done all that, we're now on the computer engaging with our friends, and we're gaming, and we're this and we're that. And there's just no break. And so I've heard so many times students saying, I can't wait to go back to school, because at first it was I don't like school. Woohoo, we're in a lockdown and we're learning virtually, to realizing like your whole life has turned into everything is being done virtually, and it's just not the same. And so those can'ts, those I can't do this, I don't like this, I don't want to do that, whatever, is now people are like so looking forward to just jump back into the swing of things and get some sense of normalcy, right? And so what we thought we couldn't do before, we did it. Like we figured out a way. Like I look at, news and TV shows that we used to watch, and they figured it out. Like there was like, Live with Kelly and Ryan. They no, it's Ryan.
Oh, it's Ryan now.
Regis is so long ago.
Yeah, sorry.
But they would do live shows, and they would do virtual concerts, and they would do this. And so we figured out a way to do it. And so now we've done it. We've done it for a year, and we're resilient, and we've learned so much. And you know what, in 10, 15 years, we're going to reflect and be like, 2020 was a really challenging year, but look at us, we got through it.
You know what I really like is what you said, figure out a way. I think this is the individual challenge for each and every one of us when we wake up, figure out a way to get up.
Yeah.
When you get on the computer and, it's not the same, figure out a way to get through it. I think this is just goes also with, us trusting ourselves and believing that we can, with effort, achieve anything that we're after, So although these are difficult times, you have to remember the thoughts that come also that make you think that this is so negative and, I don't want to do this. The mind is programmed to not want to do new things because it wants to keep you in that safe space, that safe zone. This is why we act against change. We act against things that will force us to grow. But it doesn't mean that growth is a bad thing or change is a bad thing.
Exactly.
So don't let your mind's safety measures be what forces you from moving forward and actually figuring it out. So the challenge for you guys today, and we want to leave this with you guys. And if you are having difficulty figuring it out, you have us here, you have your parents, you have your peers, you have your teachers, you have many different individuals who, because of our lived experience, we've lived a couple of years more than you. So we've been through
a bit more.
We don't know everything, but we've been through a bit more. So we can help you figure it out. And really,
I just wanted to say, there's a great quote that says, it takes a village to raise a child. And as you're talking, Mr. Assiamah, I'm kind of thinking back to, me as a teenager, because I struggled with self-esteem. I had very low self-esteem, which kind of came from the family dynamic. It was a bit dysfunctional. And, my parents, not out of maliciousness, but just out of impatience or whatever, would always say, oh, let me do it. Oh, you don't know how to do this. Oh, you're good for nothing. And that kind of eroded. So I just want to emphasize that if you are struggling with a strong negative self-talk and you feel like you aren't worth it, that what we're saying is a bit too challenging. Oh, you know what? I don't really feel supported by my parents or whatever. Even more, you have to convince yourself that you are worth it, no matter what other people in your life are saying. And we're part of your village. So it's not just you in your home. We are part of your village. That's why we're offering these videos, so that you can tag us along and have us as part of your life. Because if you're not getting it from somewhere, you're getting it here. You're getting the positive stuff from us.
That's it.
So just really be convinced that you are worth it, because you are. You matter. You're alive. You're here. Don't let other people dull your light.
And then I think, just to add to what Ms. R is saying, this is also in line with Bell Let's Talk.
Mm-hmm.
You have a support system, you have a village, but you have to talk.
Yeah.
Come, let's talk. Reach out to your support network, your supportive individuals in your life. Let's talk, because this is something that we can figure it out together. And you guys are great. You guys have been doing well. We've been through 1 year of a pandemic. I think what's January 18th is when we found out the first case of COVID-19 in Canada. And a year later, we are still here, and you guys are listening to today's show. We have a little bit of a journey ahead of us, right? But we are strong, and
we've learned a lot, and we've built a lot of resilience in this past year, and we need to honor that and recognize that we have the strength to move forward.
That's it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Mr. Assiamah said earlier, I don't know if it was on the show or in our little chat before we started recording, but he said something about our experience of the past kind of sets us up for what we're able to do in the future. Well, now look at the past year. We've done it. We've learned ways to, student council is doing these trivia events to keep students connected. We're doing these videos. Your teachers have learned a lot, and they've really been stretched, looking after their own families and recreating all their lesson plans to make it engaging for online learning. Look at the past year. Look at the huge learning curve we've all done. So if you're feeling like, oh, I can't do it, just look at the past year and say, okay, wait a second. I can do it, because the past year, oh, look, I did do it. So I just have to keep doing it.
And I can do it. I have done it, and I'll continue to do it. And our numbers again are getting lower, which is great. And hopefully in a few short weeks we'll be back to school, and hopefully we'll have a little sense of normalcy again. So
yes, well, some kind.
Listen, going back to school is just another step. It's small steps, right? And we need to celebrate those small steps.
Yeah, so celebrate the achievements that you've made, the successes, even if they're tiny.
Yep.
Even if you're maybe getting up 10 minutes earlier to brush your teeth, and maybe you're tuning into the morning broadcast that I'm offering with our guest, to start your day, because I've heard from staff and students that they really appreciate that, because it's honoring the routine, and it's setting us up for the whole day to kind of be a go-getter. So even if you're doing little stuff like that, or maybe you are starting to exercise, and it might not be much, maybe you're just doing some stretches, celebrate those victories and build on them. All right, that's another episode. Thank you, Mr. Assiamah. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week.